Same pattern, different century. When governments print currency to fund obligations they can't realistically sustain, they don't create wealth, they create the appearance of solvency, while the real economy slowly disengages underneath them. The Roman army in 378 was still wearing the uniform. It just couldn't afford the war. Now look at the borders. Because the Gothic army that destroys Valens didn't invade Rome. Rome invited them in. And the part that always gets left out of the Hollywood version of this story, the Goths weren't standing outside the gates trying to batter them down. They had already been inside because Rome itself put them there. In 376, 2 years before Adrianople, the Huns swept across the Etruscan steppe and pushed the Gothic Thervings and Gertings through the south towards the Danube frontier. Suddenly Rome is facing hundreds of thousands of refugees, hungry, armed, desperate. And the Roman governor of Thrace, Lupicinius, sees opportunity, not danger, opportunity. Rome needed soldiers. Recruitment was declining. Border manpower was thin. And now there were thousands of fighting-age men willing to serve if Rome let them cross the river. So Lupicinius opens the crossing. The Goths enter Roman territory as foederati, allied military settlers placed on Roman land in exchange for service. Now this policy itself wasn't new. Rome had been integrating Germanic tribes into border defense systems for generations. The difference in 376 was scale and corruption. Because Lupicinius doesn't simply let them in, he exploits them. He disarms them at crossing points, then sells them food at famine prices. At one point, Roman officials are reportedly trading dogs in exchange for Gothic children, who are then sold into slavery. Rome takes their weapons and starves them. And this actually matters because it shows the border system wasn't malfunctioning by accident. It was functioning exactly as the people running it intended it to function, as a revenue mechanism. The Gothic leaders, including Fritigern, protest. Lupicinius invites them to a banquet at Adrianople, and then apparently attempts to assassinate them all there. Fritigern escapes. The revolt begins. And the mechanism underneath all of this is really important. By 376, Rome's border system isn't a wall anymore. It's a membrane. It doesn't truly keep populations out, it filters them. And the filter itself is becoming corrupted. Crossing points designed to regulate migration become checkpoints for extraction. Officials turn a humanitarian crisis into a business model. Refugees become inventory. The borders don't fail because barbarians are overwhelmingly strong. They fail because the institutions managing them have already stopped performing their intended function. The laws still exist. The forts still exist. The offices still exist. But the system itself no longer works in reality. And once Fritigern realizes Rome isn't offering protection at all, it's offering exploitation. The Goths respond the way armed populations usually respond when the authority governing them becomes predatory. They go to war against it. This is the border pattern. You can write as many laws as you want. You can build checkpoints, barriers, bureaucracies. But when the people administering the system stop serving its actual purpose and start serving themselves instead, the border becomes fiction. A line on a map with no corresponding reality underneath it. Same migration crisis. Same institutional decay. Same widening gap between the law says and what the system actually does. Same pattern, different century. Now look at power, because the question most people ask about Adrianople is actually the wrong one. Why didn't Valens wait? Gratian, the Western emperor, is already marching east